Burton, there we go. Great. Hope you're well. Hope you guys have had a blessed week, fruitful week, and just had fun all through. My name is Orina. I'm part of the co-organizing team at UG Kenya. We're really excited for today. I know it's been a cold month, but hopefully I think with GuardDuty we'll be warmed up a bit and just see how to be able to use it. Personally, I'm really excited about just seeing how, the tales of intrusion detection and with GuardDuty. I think that's a really good let me say topic to look at because I'm delving into security a bit. So that's really exciting. We'll be having Mohammed, who's gonna be taking us through it. Before I do that, I think I'll let Tony introduce Mohammed. Then again, as I said, we might have a really cool announcement at the end of the call. So stick around to the very end. I think it's really exciting to kind of have that. So Tony, I think you can introduce Mohammed. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, perfect. Tony, you can just introduce Mohammed, then Mohammed can go on from there. Tony?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So I think Mohammed is known by most of the people here. He has been a member of the user group for the longest time, also contributing. And yeah, I think it's good. He introduces himself. Mohammed, you can take
Okay.
it from.
Okay, thanks, Tony. Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing good. Let me quickly share my screen. I hope you can see the presentation. Okay. Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me. This is Muhammad Mustafa. Very happy to be with you here today. Been in the industry for around 6 years now, and focusing on the cloud security for the past 3 years. As Tony said, I've been one of the community members, and it's just so good feeling to contribute to the community back. And I hope this session will be good. We will have fun. It will be educative. Let's make it as interactive as you can. If you have any questions, you can write them in the chat. I'll try to answer all of them. I have several checkpoints during the presentations. And yeah, let's get started. So this is my agenda for today. We will walk through them. I will walk you through the entire journey, through the entire process. What is GuardDuty, how to use that, how to benefit from that. And by the end, I will add my personal experience using the services and few key points where you should be careful while using the service. So the first thing is that most of the people believe that as soon as you have an AWS account and you have decided to start your cloud journey, that means by default you have implemented all the entire security, and this is wrong. Having an AWS account doesn't mean you have implemented all the required security. That's why we have the shared responsibility model. This model is kind of like the core foundation of the security in the cloud. And if you have attended any security session and it didn't have this slide on, just run away. I'm just joking, but this the core concept of the cloud, of the security in the cloud, and how the framework is kind of implemented between us and AWS as an end user. So in here we have the responsibility of the cloud is shared between the AWS as a cloud provider and the customers. As you can see, we have the orange blocks and we have the blue blocks. So the orange is the responsibility of AWS, how they implement security control in the availability zones, in the regions, how they secure the compute, the underlying compute services, the storage, the database, the software, how they decompose like for example, the corrupted hardwares or hard disks that are being used. The rest is left to the customer. And most important point, that this model you're seeing here is for the EC2, for purchasing. If you have EC2 instance, this is the model where it's applicable to you. So for example, if you are using any of the other AWS services, the blocks might change. It might goes up, it might goes down, but this is the core foundation, and this is how everything is kind of like shared between us and AWS Cloud. So this is very important, as you need to understand there is some responsibility, there is security responsibility that's related to you. If there is any activities that's related to your account as an AWS account, and you have reached the AWS team or support, they will reply. The first thing they will mention, the reply, here's the shared responsibility model. Have a look at that and then come back to us, because this is the guideline. This shows how things are shared between the customer and AWS. Okay, so it's very important to have a clear understanding of this model. You need to understand security is shared between you and the customer. You might have less task or less security task to be achieved depending on what you're building on the cloud, but there is some security responsibility is dependent on you as a customer. So speaking of the security services, we have a wide variety of AWS out of the box. You can use them very easily, just with a few clicks. You need to understand them. As someone interested in security, or as someone as a cloud security engineer, you need to understand each and every one of those services to be able to address how it's going to address your concern and how it's going to be beneficial for your implementation. As someone building on the cloud, you might not need all the services depending on the model that you're building on the cloud. But the point is that we have plenty and wide variety of services to support your mission on the cloud. So we have services to identify, services to protect, services to detect, services to remediate the action. So whatever that you need, there is a services for that use case. For today's presentation or today's engagement, our focus will be on the detection services and primarily focusing on Amazon GuardDuty. So let's suppose that you have successfully completed your AWS migration, if it's migration services, if it's greenfield, if whatever that you're building on AWS, and through your implementation, you were sure that you were implementing the AWS security services, you were adhering the AWS security best practices, and you were using everything by the book. So everything in place, you have secured the environment, you're using SSL certificate, you're using least privilege principle, whatever that's required, whatever that you have gone through, you have implemented that. Does that mean your job as a security engineer or your security journey have come to an end? Unfortunately, it doesn't. As you are all aware, security is not just a one-time job. Security is a continuous job. It's not just one-time thing. You have to do it and you're done. It's unlike migration. It's unlike other part of the security task. Security is ongoing offered. So everything in place, you have configured everything that you required. Now we need something to keep looking at our AWS environment to ensure that whatever that it's happening, whatever that's going, we have someone that's continuously running. We have someone that continuously checking that everything is in place, nothing malicious happening, nothing odd is happening on the AWS account, and you need to ensure that everything is in place. Okay, obviously, those plenty of services help you for this matter, specifically GuardDuty with this matter. Beside the services, obviously we have the marketplace. You have AWS marketplace supporting whatever that's required, but out of the box integration, we have Amazon GuardDuty. So Amazon GuardDuty is an intelligent detection services that's help you to look around your AWS account to ensure that everything is running successfully, nothing is happening, nothing malicious is taking place. The service is completely powered by machine learning. So there's nothing much work to do for you. You just have to enable the service. The service itself, it will start collecting some logs from your AWS account. And then depending on how the workloads on your AWS account, depending on how your administrator, your EKS, whatever the environment, whatever the workload that's running in AWS start behaving, whatever API calls that are being used, it will start generating those reports. So in the beginning, it's a machine learning powered service, nothing much for you to do. This service is fully managed by AWS, so there is no workload for you to manage. It's there's no like, you don't have to worry about high availability, you don't have to worry about DR, you don't have to worry about anything. As I said, it's just like out of the box integration with your AWS account. It's scalable. If you have a workload account that has a few EC2 instances, or if you have a mega AWS account, the service will take care of that. It will continuously looking at your AWS account. Most importantly, the service is regional service. So for example, if your workload is deployed in, for example, Ireland, EU-S1, and you can enable that service in that region only. So it's a regional service. You don't have to, you have to, or you don't have to, we can argue about that, but it's a regional services. You can, as a beginning, you can start by enabling the service in the region where you have deployed your workloads. And then by the end of the slides, I can share more insights about whether if you have to enable the service across all the region or not. There is no financial commitment for you to start using GuardDuty. It's a pay-as-you-go services. There is a lot of sub-modules of GuardDuty you can enable or disable as you wish. The service comes with a 30 days trial period where you can just start in using the service, understand what the capabilities of the services that you can use. And later on, if you didn't find the service that match your need or provide what that's required for you as a security, you can simply disable the service. You can simply disable the service. So it works on the intelligent threat detection. It can discover anomalies if there is like any exposed credentials, if there is any command and control infrastructure, if there is any whatever kind of like malicious activities that's running on your AWS account, GuardDuty can help you detecting that. The most important point that I want you to understand that GuardDuty is a detection service. So you should not expect GuardDuty to take any actions. So everything the service can do, it will only notify you like this instance might be compromised. This S3 bucket might be compromised. This user might be compromised, but by nature, by default, GuardDuty cannot take any actions against those activities that are in place, okay? So now we have understand the service. We have understand why do we need a service. Next, we need to understand what are the data sources that feed the services. For the service to operate correctly, we need to have some services that provide data, and the machine learning model can work and provide us insights. So the first data source is CloudTrail. CloudTrail is the API logging activities that's record all the activities that's happening on your place. So GuardDuty will analyze your CloudTrail logs. That's including the event logs, the management logs, and data event logs for S3, and then deciding on what's happening on those logs can give you logs and alerts. For example, let's say that most of your operations or most of the services that you're using is coming from a specific region. So if there is like an access to an API or an API call from abnormal region, for example, most of your operation coming from Kenya, and out of the sudden you have one of the API calls have been made from Europe, Sweden, or whatever. At that point, GuardDuty will detect there is like anomaly that's happening in your AWS account, and you have a log for that. Later on, you can take whatever detection, whatever method that you have, whatever security runbook or playbook you have, according on these logs. So the first data source is CloudTrail. The second one is VPC flow logs. So all the logs, all the resources deployed inside your VPC, all the networking communication will be analyzed and I would say analyzed by VPC flow logs. And GuardDuty will analyze all these logs to understand if, for example, your EC2 instance might accessing a site that's known for Bitcoin mining, or might accessing Tor endpoint, or might accessing whatever that's happening on the VPC. So that's the first data source. That's the second data source. The third data source is DNS logs, as well as VPC flow logs. GuardDuty will analyze the DNS logs to ensure that all the DNS addresses and DNS endpoints that are being used by your MVPC deployed resources are not malicious, are not well-known bad actors, or are not well-known have a bad reputations. Those three data sources, whether it's CloudTrail, whether it's VPC flow logs, whether it's DNS logs, those three are called the foundational data sources. They are very important for GuardDuty to start behaving, to start analyzing, to start giving you the required results. So those are the core, I would say, data sources for GuardDuty to work. And the rest is, I wouldn't say it's complementary, but according to your workload. But those three are the top important ones. And the rest of the data sources, or the rest of the services that sends logs to GuardDuty, they are built on top of the three. Okay. Next, we have EBS volumes. So far, what's been happening by GuardDuty, it's only analyzing the outer layer of what's happening in your AWS account. By using EBS volumes, GuardDuty can take a step further and start scanning an OS level of what's happening on the EBS volume. One of the scenarios, or well-known scenarios for this data source, for example, let's say that you had an EC2 instance, and that EC2 instance started communicating with, I would say, a very bad destination known for spreading malware or ransomware. As soon as GuardDuty detect that from the VPC flow logs or the DNS logs, GuardDuty will initiate a scanning on the EBS volume of the EC2 instance by creating a replica of the EBS volume, so that your performance, your operation on the EC2 instance will not be affected by that. And it will start scanning the EBS volume for any well-known file executions, emails, documents, for any type of well-known malware extensions. So it will scan the documents, the executable files, the emails, the plain text, whatever that's on the EBS volume, it will start scanning that. And in case of a vulnerability found, you will find the notification or an alarm on your GuardDuty dashboard. Okay. And next, GuardDuty, as well as EBS volume, it can scan your EKS resources by using the features from VPC flow logs and DNS logs, by analyzing the communication of your control plane of the EKS clusters or EKS nodes, and to check of the API calls that's being made by this EKS, and to analyze the EKS audit logs. Okay. Next, one of the data sources that have been since forever, but a new feature have been added, GuardDuty can analyze the Amazon S3 bucket. So it will analyze the bucket the API access where the S3 API access are being accessed from. And recently, I think in the last, I'm not sure, in the last reinforce, I think they have announced S3 malware protection, where it's similar to AWS protection, where a GuardDuty can scan the data inside of your S3 bucket and decide if there is any ransomware or any malware of any type of viruses that have been detected on your S3 bucket as well. This action will be initiated similar to eBase volume if there was like an API access from any untrusted endpoint, or if there's like any anomalies have been detected by GuardDuty. Okay. Next, GuardDuty as well as will receive logs from Amazon Lambda to ensure that your Lambda function is not communicating with any bad actors, and the code inside Lambda is not being used for any malicious activities, Bitcoin mining, whatever that can be used within inside your AWS Lambda. So now, like from like a higher level, speaking of the data sources, we can scan data from EC2, S3, Lambda, RDS protection as well for Aurora, and EKS. So we had a variety of services that we can send logs from Amazon Lambda, we can send logs from all these data sources, and they can be fed to GuardDuty, and those results can be shown in GuardDuty console. Okay. So one important point that for all these data sources, they can operate normally, no performance or availability impacted on your workload by using GuardDuty. So like the scanning process or the analyzing process that's been by GuardDuty, it will not affect the normal operation or the performance of these services. Also, one important point that there is no need for you to enable sub features. Like for example, if within your AWS account, you are not enabling VPC flawless, does that mean Amazon GuardDuty will not work? No. You don't have to enable any of these sub features, as GuardDuty will start fetching those logs, will start duplicating those logs internally, whether that have been enabled by the administrator or not. GuardDuty will continue to operate normally. One important question is that, do we have to enable any of those sub features on sub data sources on Amazon GuardDuty? No. For example, you decided that you don't need to have the RDS protection on Amazon GuardDuty. You can simply disable that. It's not like a combo package. You can just tailor the solution as much as you would like, and you will have the appropriate results. But again, the main three foundational data sources, that's CloudTrail, VPC flow logs, DNS logs, they are very important and very crucial for all the other subsets of data sources to work on. Okay. So now we would like to understand, like I have been saying a lot, we would like to see like some, I would say some findings and some results that we can understand, or non-security persons can understand what these findings can be found. To our right, we have GuardDuty sitting, monitoring our AWS account, looking for all the suspicious activities that's happening on the account. We have enabled all the data sources I have mentioned: CloudTrail, VPC flow logs, DNS logs, EBS volumes, RDS protection, everything that we have enabled. What we can expect from having all these data sources. One of the top findings that can be generated by GuardDuty is, for example, we have an instance compromise, and that instance have been used by cryptocurrency mining. Using the default actions and using the default security services and using the security best practices without having GuardDuty being enabled, we cannot detect this unless we have a third-party solution that's working on top of our solution. So using GuardDuty, we can out of the box discover if there is any instance have been used for cryptocurrency mining. And this is one of the most top attacks that have been in the AWS account, where your AWS account will be stolen by a hacker or someone else. And then they will start use this account to mine Bitcoins. By the end of the year, you will discover a huge amount of bill by the Bitcoin mining, because they will use a large instance. Without having GuardDuty or without having any other solution to detect the activities happening within the OS and to detect the activities that's happening within your VPC flow logs, this cannot be discovered. This is where the power of GuardDuty come in place, as well as reconnaissances, where there is, if you have now, while we're speaking, you have launched an Amazon, a Windows EC2 instance with the public IP. I think the minute you have started that instance, you will see someone out there started to performing brute force attack by guessing the password on that. We can detect that as well by GuardDuty. Account compromise, if someone trying to guess your password, if someone logged from I would say abnormal location, and this happens all the time. For example, we had developers who sometimes they can use a VPN, and out of the sudden, GuardDuty will generate a finding, this user have attempted to access this API from this location. And when you get to investigation, you realize that it's one of your users and he used a VPN or something like that. So GuardDuty can detect those kind of activities, bucket compromise as well, container compromise as well, and malware detection if it's on EBS volume or if it's in S3. Okay, but again, reiterating on this because this is very important, that GuardDuty is the detection service. All that's gonna happen, GuardDuty will just give you an alert that there is a suspicious file extension that has been found in this EBS volume, and you need to take an action. Similar with S3 bucket. Okay, I would like to add as well, going back to the story where you had some developers who are working online and sometimes they use a VPN or whatever. So you can add a trust IP list if those have generated any false positive kind of results to ensure that this traffic is coming from a legitimate place, this traffic is coming from a well-known place for me. So GuardDuty will not start generating a further logs related to this, okay? And for example, if there was some findings that has been generated by GuardDuty and they were not important to you, or you feel this logs or findings are not important to you, you can simply suppress them, or you can even adjust the sensitivity of the findings. We have low, medium, high. Following the security best practices, all the findings have been categorized into those 3 categories, but you have the option to change the adjusting sensitivities of the findings. Okay. So, do you have any questions so far? Is it good? Okay, I think no questions. Okay, moving further. Now we have understand the service. We have understand what's the purpose of the service, how we can use that, what are the type of findings that you can be found by the services. Now the job still is not done. Discovering and having the service enabled and just having whatever that's required, that's not the job is not done yet. There's still more work to do. The first thing is that all the logs have been generated by GuardDuty. They cannot be retained forever. They will be shown on GuardDuty console for 90 days. After 90 days, they will be discarded. Okay. One of the options that we have, we can send those logs to an S3 bucket. where we can retain them as much as we want to, or where we can keep them as long as we would love to do that. And from S3 bucket, you can do whatever that you want to do. You can query them using Athena. You can feed them to any of the third-party products like SIM Solution, like Splunk or QRadar or FortiSIM, whatever that the SIM solution that you're using, you can feed them from there. You can retain them, you can keep the logs, and whatever that's required from there, you can do it from S3 bucket. Like the data is yours and can be retained forever. So this is one of the most important, like you have the findings, and then like when you're looking for historical finding, that cannot be found because the data can be discarded, okay? Another integration point is we can easily integrate the service with Security Hub. Security Hub is, I would say, a single pane security dashboard where you have plenty of services like config, and you have GuardDuty, you have IAM access analyzer, you have all the security services, all the logs can be shared to a one security dashboard where you can see all the logs, all the security findings from all these services. And instead of checking the logs on config, and then you have to go to GuardDuty and you have to go to IAM access, and instead of just like hovering around all the services, all these logs can be shared in one security dashboard, as well as we can perform some evaluation against well-known standard security framework, such as NIST, PCI, AWS Security Framework, or whatever. So AWS GuardDuty logs can be sent to a Security Hub as well. Lastly, the logs can be sent to Amazon Detective, where, for example, you want to have a visualize diagram of what's happening, where the attack took place, where you can simply integrate the service with Amazon Detective, and those are the 3 integration points. Okay. Lastly, I would like to share like some insights about the service from using the services personally. So if you have an AWS organization setup, or if you have a control tower setup, the setup is very easy. And instead of just going back and forth between the accounts, checking each logs in a separated account individually, you can set up a security OU or a security account and have all the logs from all the GuardDuty enabled in all this AWS accounts sent to a single account or a single dashboard, and you can see the entire logs. The process is fairly simple. The process is very straightforward. It's just like invite and accept, and all these logs will be shared to a single AWS account. And from that account, it's your call. After that, you can like send the logs to a unified S3 bucket and have those fed to a SIM product or a SIM solution. You can send them whatever that's required from your side, okay? As well as these services can help you using, if like there is any security requirement, or if there is any security framework compliance that you need to achieve, having the services can help you achieving this requirement. And personally, I have used this in many scenarios. Okay. Next point is cost. I mean, this is normally when things get bad. So speaking of the cost, the concept or the billing mentality of GuardDuty is that you will be billed by the amount of data that's being scanned by GuardDuty. Let's say that you have a VPC flow logs monthly with the size of 10 gigabit. GuardDuty will scan this 10 gigabit, and you will be charged based on this amount of data that has been scanned, okay? And this is fair enough. But the issue normally comes from EBS malware protection. EBS malware protection, where GuardDuty will scan your entire EBS volume, okay? So one of the scenarios that we have been coming across normally is that there is an EC2 instance. That EC2 instance have started communicating with malicious IP. GuardDuty initiated EBS malware protection, and GuardDuty have started scanning the entire EBS volumes of the EC2 instance. And this is a big issue because for some customers or for some users, GuardDuty will notify me only that this service, there is like a potential malware have been detected in my EBS volume. And that's it. So I have paid a significant amount of money for just like notifying me that there is a malware detected in my EBS volume without taking any actions. So my point here, what I would like to say is be careful when enabling EBS malware protection because it can cause some damage. It can cause some financial damage, and many people will be sad. So all the other services, they will not cost that much. Again, it depends on your workload. It depends on how big is your environment. But just be very careful with the EBS malware protection and S3 malware protection because they normally scan the entire EBS volume. Obviously, there are some techniques where you can apply, you can like tag the specific EBS volume and exclude them from the scan. And there like some techniques can be used to that, but still just be sure that whatever, like before enabling the malware protection, just be sure that like you have gone through the documentation very carefully. You understand the consequences of enabling this subset of features. I encourage you to enable GuardDuty, but just be very careful with the EBS malware protection and S3 protection. And as I said before, you have a 30 days trial period where you can try all the service for free. You will not be charged for anything. As part of the AWS making it very easy for you to understand, like to start using the services, there is a cost estimate tab on the service itself. And from there, you can, like the service will tell you if you continue using the services with the same amount of workload, with the same amount of traffic, you will be billed for the next month this amount of money. If you are okay, you can continue using the services. If not, you can disable sub features of the services. If not, you can continue. You can completely disable the entire the services, and you'll be good to go. Okay. Next point is, as I said, one of the biggest drawbacks of GuardDuty is just a detection service. And if your account was compromised, all that's going to happen, you'll find the log saying that your account was compromised. That's it. And I think I would love if AWS have made some pre-built templates to help people have like pre-built detection actions to encourage people more using the services. As of now, the only way to have a complete, I would say, a security pipeline, to have whatever that's being generated by GuardDuty as a service, as a log, and to have an action be taken based on those logs. I think the only option now is you can integrate with AWS Event Bridge, and then from Event Bridge, you can have an SNS topic to, in the beginning, to send you a message notification that's, hey, GuardDuty have detected this finding, you need to take action. This is, at least you should do that. Or as a next step, you can have a Lambda and then build your own code to take action on the EC2 instance, on the whatever the finding that's there. So for example, if there was like an EC2 instance that has been compromised, you need to build a Lambda function to define what sort of actions according to your security rules that you want to take against this EC2 instance. For example, you would like to isolate this instance, you would like to terminate this instance. The point is you need to have your own code or your own function to take remediation actions, as well as IAM, as well as whatever that's your goal now, okay? And this is one of the major drawbacks with the service, okay? That's it for me. There is not much of a technical like demos and demonstration for the services. Just if you click, it just enable, and the service will in the background will start running and generating whatever the logs that are required. If you have any questions, please run them by. If not, let's connect in LinkedIn. If you have any further questions, if you would like to have any further discussions, I would love to have them. Mark, I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Actually, I think for the first checkpoint, I had a question. I think you mentioned GuardDuty is a regional service. So
yes.
Do you maybe enable it per region, or is it like you enable it
yes.
globally? What does that look
okay.
like?
Very good question. Very, very good question. So the service is a regional service, okay? But it has like two sides. It's a regional services, meaning that the service will only do its work and do its magic within that service only. So for example, if you have an attacker start using some services in another region, the service will detect that to some extent because it's analyzing the API's activities and the anomalous API calls. But it's best practice to have the service enabled on all the regions that are activated. You know, in the AWS console, you can disable or activate the API activities in a specific region. So any region that you have a workload, or you might have a workload, or API activities has been enabled on that region, you need to have the service enabled on this region. The cost obviously will be nothing because there is nothing actually running in that service, but it's best advised to have the service spread across all the regions, just to be alert, just to be focused, just to be aware that what's happening across all your AWS ecosystem.
Okay, great. I don't know if there are any other questions. Thank you for clarifying that. I don't know if there are any other questions from the audience. Let's see. You can unmute and ask, or you can also ask it on the chat. Also, you can definitely connect with Mohammed on LinkedIn. I think you can be able to ask him any questions about GuardDuty. I'm really excited to try and use it. I'm a bit scared of the cost.
No, like you have, as I said, you have the 30 days trial period. I encourage everyone to start using that in their account, and just like see what type of findings that can be there. I mean, there is like in the console, there is like a sample finding where like GuardDuty will simulate a security breach to your AWS account, and it will start sending like all these kind of logs. So I encourage everyone that have an AWS account, if it's just dev, if it's test, if it's your own personal account, if it's a production account, definitely it should go for production. You need to have that service enabled. Like you will see the benefit from there. Like you need to, you have to enable that, and like it will save you, as it saved me in many situations.
Absolutely. I see there's a question here. From Mohammed. Hi, Mohammed. Hope you're well. Can you do detection as I think cross accounts through different accounts? I believe, if I'm getting your question right. So can you do detection cross account? Yeah.
No, like the service have to run within the account. I mean, like we can share the logs between the account. As I said, we can export them to S3. If we have an organization setup, control tower setup, we can have one account that's responsible for collecting all the logs within the AWS account. But it only logs within your account. And the reason behind that, like this is your own environment. So AWS cannot like share resources or share information between this account and that account, this region and that region. That's why like it's only account level, region level. But as long as you have exported the findings to S3, they are your findings now. By the way, they are JSON document. They are JSON formatted. So they are your document now. You can download them locally. You can share them across account. You can replicate them. It's your call. But cross account, as the question said, this is not possible.
Great. I think last question, then I think, thank you very much actually for coming through for today. I think you've kind of demystified how to use GuardDuty. That's really awesome. I'll definitely be trying it out. I'm currently tinkering with Splunk and seeing how to use it. So I think I'd also try and kind of use it with GuardDuty.
Yes,
so
yes.
that's kind
There
of
is an integration between, like, you can have the logs, whatever that's generated here, sent to Splunk. That's going to be very useful for you, extremely useful.
Awesome. So last question, I think is the one question people are really asking. I'm also kind of asking, how did you move into security per se? I see you're four times AWS certified, Huawei Cloud. Just give us a bit of your journey. You didn't kind of mention it a bit in your introduction. You can kind of give us a brief history about your journey in cloud. I think that would be really good.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Like, I started as a network security engineer. I've been in the network field for a couple of years. Like, kind of like I started studying about cloud computing, attending meetups. You need to attend meetups. This can be very a place for you to start, like, networking, getting around new topics, new areas. And I got a certification that's definitely helped me in my career. I started building some, like, small projects or demos, sharing them on LinkedIn. And one of the, like, really things that helped me, start looking for AWS partner in your region. I'm not sure if there is, like, AWS partner in Kenya currently, but look for AWS partner within your region. Those partners always going through projects, always looking for hiring, always looking for new talents. You can connect with them, and that can be your breaking point.
Awesome.
It sounds very small and easy, but a lot of study, a lot of just being patient, and definitely you'll get there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mohammed. Definitely reach out after this. I'm really interested in security, and I think you'd probably be the best person to ask. So thank you. Yeah. So thank you. I think in Kenya we say asante sana. I don't know how you say it in. I think you're from Sudan, right? I don't know how they say thank you in Sudan.
Shukran, Zazila.
Oh, shukran, yeah. Shukran. Perfect. So thank you very much. Really looking forward to maybe another session with you, and hopefully maybe you can even come for community day next year, probably. So that will also be very awesome. All right, so you can stop sharing your screen. I think we can pivot to a few other things. We're supposed to do like a selfie. Yes. So guys, before we do one announcement, I don't know if you guys can switch on your cameras. We can do like one group photo. I know a lot of people are shy in terms of this, but if you can switch on your cameras, then we can do one group photo, then you can make the announcement for the next meetup. There we go. Hi Dennis. Hi Remy. Hi Tony. Hi Fantas. Perfect. There are a bunch of people here. All right. Hi Mona. Hi Adele. Actually, Remy did our last meetup, virtual meetup. So hi Remy, how are you doing? Hope you're well. Great. Okay. So make a good pause so that when I take a screenshot, I'm trying to find the screenshot button. Okay. Oh, here it is. So just have a good pause. Ephantus looks like he's a hacker. He's about to hack a few things here and there. So just be careful. Switch on your GuardDuty so that Ephantus doesn't get you. I think it looks like he's about to hack a few things. All right, great. Thank you very much, guys. I'll share my screen now. Let me share my screen. I don't know what I'm sharing. I'm not sure what I'm sharing. Right, let me just confirm what I'm sharing. Okay, can you guys see my poster, or what can you guys see on my screen? I'm not sure what I can see.
We're seeing the poster.
Perfect. Yes.
For this session.
Yes, great. So is it next? Let me see. Yes. So really cool announcement, guys. We'll be having a session with Datadog. on, so we'll be partnering with Datadog on this session coming next week. Really excited about it. They've seen what we've done and they're willing to partner with us. Okay, that's the blank one. Perfect. There we go. So we'll be having Anis. I can't say his second name. So just forgive me for not saying it, but he's an account executive at Datadog. He's a DevSecOps enthusiast. As you can see, we're really going towards a lot of security, monitoring, and all things around security and securing yourself. I don't know if you guys have had any, how do I put this? Any instances of maybe security breaches and all that, but we are really delving into it and trying to help people out in terms of this. So this is what we'll be having, and it's going to be on a Friday, 2nd August. So it's this Friday, 2nd August, from 9 to 10 p.m. We'll be having Datadog there. There'll be a few goodies to be given at that point. Don't hold me on that though, but really excited about this. It will be about enhancing observability, introduction to Datadog with practical insights. So Anis will be taking us through it, and I think one person from Datadog will be coming through. So come through, have fun with it as we do it. And note, actually, it will not be on a Saturday. It will actually be on a Friday night. 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. So look at your schedules, look at, if you can move a few things around and actually be part of it as such. I'll let Adele just kind of talk us through this as we close up. But yeah, I think that's the really cool announcement that you're having, and it's going to be really exciting to be able to see it. Adeline, I think you can kind of talk about this a bit as we close off. Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Confirm you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you guys for joining in. Considering that it's a Saturday, we really appreciate setting aside time just to join our session today. Yeah, so as Mark has mentioned, next week on a Friday, we're expecting Datadog team to be with us. So there's a lady, and then now Anis will be sharing some insights around Datadog and practical insights about the Datadog. Yeah, so looking forward to the session next week on Friday, and we'll do an official post for this, yes, on all our platforms. And also, in addition to that, I have a request concerning the people who haven't done any cloud practitioner exam. A Jira program is enrolling their 11th. Yes, their 11th cohort, if I'm not wrong. So in partnership with the Jira program, here is the link. We will share the link officially in our WhatsApp group and also our social media platforms. So if you haven't taken any cloud practitioner or any foundational exam, here's a great opportunity for you to venture into this space, considering it is free. It is a 12 weeks program, and then it is more of a class-based, whereby the technical mentors that they will take you through all the concepts in regards to cloud practitioner. And then if you are not in our WhatsApp group, I'll just share the links to our pages, so feel free to join. Yes, other than that, I think we are good, and back to you, Mark.
Thank you very much. Oh, last question I've seen someone ask. We've recorded the session. Let me stop recording.